Hey lovelies, Lisa here, and it is day 12 in my tower month. And yeah, this morning, I'm still working with the Ancient Italian Tarot, which I love. So funny to me how long I've avoided working with this deck because I had kind of convinced myself that I hated the cardstock, which is just weird. It's just Lo Scarabeo cardstock, but for some reason, yeah. Anyway, I think, sometimes I think that there are decks that we find ourselves aversive to. The Mary L is another one of these where it's just, I felt aversive to working with it. I think it's because, we're waiting for the right moment, either consciously or unconsciously. Anyway, so now's the moment that I'm diving into this deck. And so I pulled La Papessa and, the High Priestess. And, thinking about modes of knowing that are kind of more dark, not about like the bringing things into the light, not about like the sun, but more about the moon, to think about later on in the sequence of trump cards. So, the La Papessa as being, all about this sort of dive into the intuitive. And I mean, just such a powerful card, right? I mean, the High Priestess. I mean, this is one of the most potent archetypes, one of the most delightful archetypes to draw. And I also, because I keep working with playing cards, I also pulled some playing cards, and I got this card. So I had this sense, even when I pulled these cards, I was like, man, there's something about two. I mean, on the one hand, this is La Papessa. On the other hand, this is two. And didn't really know what to make of that, and didn't really make anything of that, really, until like later in the day. And, it's like I suddenly came to this sense of the way in which, the tower, we can focus so much on this being my calamity, my tower month, and the way in which the very figure of the tower itself is so, like the first person pronoun I, it's so much that upright, singular, individuated, kind of manifestation. It's about the self. And I always think about the crown here as denoting the ways in which we imagine the self to be sovereign. Like, I'm the king of my own castle, I'm sovereign, I'm autonomous, I have power. And that the tower, in its most sort of straightforward reading, is about this sort of overcoming of that myth of the self. But, the human figures in the tower, there are two of them. I mean, at least there's 1.5. And in this, I just thought about the ways in which one of the things that is so painful in life is not that we are falling, not that our tower is collapsing, but watching that happen to someone else. And thinking about the way in which the tower is not necessarily my tower. The calamities are not necessarily my calamities, but how I see other people falling and maybe have no ability to help. This came up for me today in two visits that I did at the hospital, two different, very, very different situations. One, and I won't go into details because, these are other people's stories, but one was sort of about, was a daughter dealing with her elderly mother, and the other was a son dealing with his, sort of teenage son dealing with his, 30-something, 40-something mother. So they were both about children and mothers. And in both cases, very, very, very different situations. saw the ways in which, we children, are sometimes, as we get older, we're helpless to prevent the suffering of our parents. And what does it mean to see someone fall in whatever way, either due to illness or addiction or crisis or whatever. So that's what I was thinking about today. And also thinking about there's someone in my world, and I'm seeing her making some choices that are painful to watch, and nothing huge, but that sense of seeing someone fall and not being able to help, and not knowing when or if or how they will hit rock bottom, and knowing that the gravity that pulls them, like this, there's a force here that has a rightness of its own. They're on their path, and I was going to say that's their choice. Sometimes this has nothing to do with choice, but that's their life. We individuals, we're so tied. I mean, we live lives of mutuality. We're all intertwined with each other. And yet we also live individual lives with individual fates and individual karmas. So, yeah. So that, I've been thinking about the power of two and what it means for us to be in relationship with each other. And what does it mean for the tower not just to be about me, but the tower might be about you and my relationship to you as you have your tower month. Okay. That's what I got. I also have a new playing card deck. I'm having a lot of fun with playing cards. So this is a deck that called the Red High Victorian. It's a bicycle. It was produced by Theory 11. It's so no, it's not bicycle. But it's USPCC, and it's beautiful. It was created for Target. This was a special edition, and it came out like a year ago, I think. Anyway, I saw it online, and I thought it was super cool. The tuck case is really beautiful. Whoops. Really nice. Not so thick, but nice. The world of playing cards is really different from the world of tarot, folks. And I love the backs. Super ornate. Let's see if I can get that to focus. And then it's just really cool. The face cards don't have faces on them. I think that's so awesome. Jack, Queen, King. Yeah. Look at these aces. Anyway, super cool. So, my world of playing cards. It's kind of a new and delicious and delightful way to be. 5 of clubs. There you go. Okay. Thank you so much for your practice.